Welcome back, and now we're going to do lessons 7 and 8 together. And we're doing it together for a very specific reason because both of these lessons deal with WordPress pages. WordPress is basically comprised of pages and posts. And just to give you sort of a preview, if I go over to the live blog here, you'll see that on the home page there's a post called Hello World. These are your blog posts, or you might want to think of them as articles that you're going to be writing over and over, new ones maybe even every day, depending on how active your blog is. Then there's static information, which will be held on pages. By default, we have a home page and an about page. Pages, for the most part, don't really change. They might be updated from time to time, whereas that's brand new content coming out all the time. The cool thing with WordPress is that whether you're dealing with a page or a post, the structure behind the scenes in your dashboard is basically the same. So with this lesson, we're going to explain how WordPress deals with pages, and then we're going to actually update this about page because it just basically comes with this example WordPress stuff. We want it to actually have some real data about our business or our blog that we're running here. So back over to the dashboard. All you need to do is, let's minimize the dashboard there and click on the Pages menu. A couple things happen. First, there is two options. There's Pages and there's Add New. And then there's a summary. Over time, as you add more and more pages, you'll get a list here of all the different pages you have. If you hover over About, which is the only page we currently have, you'll see there's an Edit option, Quick Edit, Trash, and View. Try them out. It's pretty obvious. With Edit, you can go in and edit the page. Quick Edit just lets you quickly change some stats about the page. Cancel that. Trashing it is getting rid of it, and viewing it is seeing what we already saw in that preview. So for this demonstration, what we're going to do is edit the About page and actually put some real information here. But at the same time, I'm going to click Edit here. At the same time, I'm going to explain this window, which is really the nuts and bolts of WordPress. This window that you're looking at right now is where you control all of the data on your website. So we're going to walk through step by step here all of the different things you need to learn about this WordPress editor that we're looking at here. So the first thing is the title. By default, this page was titled About, and just for fun, I'm going to change it to About Us. So that's the title section. The second section that I want to point out here is right here. It's called Permalink. Now, if you look at the details here, the permalink, or the public link for this website or for this page, is smallbiztipsforyou.wordpress.com/about. And that's fine. We can leave it as a default. If I want to edit it, I can. I might want to put About Us so that it matches the name. It doesn't matter if it matches the name. I have blogs where the page says company info, but the permalink is products or About Us. So it really doesn't matter what you do here. In terms of coordinating the two, that's kind of up to you. The thing you do want to make sure is that your permalinks actually have words and not random numbers, because it will help down the road when it comes to keywords and just making sure that your all the pages on your website are obvious. So if I click OK, I've now updated the permalink so that if people want to reach my About Us page, it's going to be /About Us. The third section I want to point out here is just this full editor right here. This is basically where you're going to control everything, and you can see that if I go back to the blog, that About page we were looking at was actually designed right here. And if we want to make changes, or ultimately I want to remove all of this, I'm going to be doing it using this editor. And the editor is broken into two different sections. Right now we are on what's called the visual editor, and you can sort of see it's gray, but that is the tab we've moved to the front here. And the visual editor is where I always recommend people start, because you visually look at what your blog is going to be as you design it. The other option is an HTML editor, which in this case it looks the same because we just have text. But if you start adding custom things like maybe an ad block, if you're putting advertisements in there, or you might be adding text from your HTML from your autoresponder, or you could have other programmatic things happening in there as well. More advanced users would be able to use the HTML tab to paste in HTML code. An example of where I use this very frequently is I embed YouTube videos by going to YouTube and grabbing the embed HTML code, if you were to paste that in the visual tab, it wouldn't work properly. So over time, you're going to have to get a sort of a better feel as to how these two tabs work. For now, we're dealing with just the About Us page, where it's mostly just going to be maybe a photo of us and then a little write-up. So dealing with it visually is fine for the purposes of this demo. So that's the visual tab and the HTML tab. The other thing here is, if you look in this section here, this is your what's called your toolbar. If you've ever used any word processor like Microsoft Word or Pages, doesn't matter. Same idea. This is where you can customize the text and the look and feel. You can bold things, italicize things. You might want to center the title of a page that you're writing, or left justify, right justify. There's this little thing here called your kitchen sink, which hides options or shows more options. So if I click on it, it actually opens up even more options. I can set the style. Right now it's a paragraph, but I might want to have heading 1 format or heading 5 format. I might want to underline things. I might want to change the color of the text itself. Right now it's set to, it looks sort of like a gray color. Maybe I want it to be darker and change it to black or change it to red depending on what I'm doing. These are all sort of your word processing type of features. And another cool little feature just to point out here is that as you write your blog posts or as you write your pages, WordPress gives you a word count. So I know there's 51 words on this page. If I scroll down a little further, you'll see that there's a section called Discussion. Because this is a blog, we in general probably going to want to encourage dialogue. We want people to leave comments and tell us their thoughts about what we've written. Now on Pages isn't really the type of place where you'll often ask for people to leave comments and respond back to them. Normally, discussion happens on blog posts. So if I go over to the About page here, you can see that people can actually leave a comment on my About page. For me, that's not as appropriate as leaving a comment on an article I wrote saying, here's why most businesses fail. People might want to chime in and give their opinion on that. On an About page, maybe not. So I'm going to disallow that, and then later on when I update this page, you'll see how that moves away. There's also a section called Allow Trackbacks and Pingbacks. Basically what this means at a high level, without going into too many details, that if somebody links to this page from another blog or another website, that you're going to allow that link to happen, and you're going to allow sort of the promotion of that page across to these other blogs. There's nothing wrong. In fact, I encourage you always do that because it's publicity for your blog or for your page on your blog. The second section here is comments. If people have left comments on your page or your posts, then here you can come in and moderate them and take a look and maybe even start responding to people right within the context of your page settings. And then the final section here is there's two, author and sharing sections. As blogs get larger, you might add guest authors or additional authors. Maybe there's 5 or 6 people sharing this one blog. You can create new users and new authors, and as you write a post or a page, you set, using this drop-down box, who that author was for this particular article. And the sharing options turn on or off those sharing buttons that we created in an earlier lesson. So just to show you what that is, here's the About page. People can share this page with their friends on email, Facebook, StumbleUpon, and so on. If I want to disable that for whatever reason, I would do that right here. Then if I scroll back up and look over on the right side, we have a section called the Publish panel. Publish panel is very important whether you're dealing with a WordPress page or a WordPress post, because as you publish new things or as you schedule things, this is where you control how things go out live on the internet. So right now you can see the status of this page is that it's published. If you're creating a brand new page, it starts in what's called a draft mode. So if I hit edit here, I can change it from published to pending reviewed or to draft, and that would actually remove it from the public internet and put it back into sort of this hidden state where nobody else can see it. So that's an important feature. If you accidentally publish something on your blog that you didn't mean to do, you could take it back off and hide it from everybody by using this little option here. The second one is visibility. WordPress is really neat in the sense that you can publicly make all of your pages available, or if you have certain information that's private and you only want to let maybe your clients or you only want to let certain people that you work with access that information, then you can password protect pages and nobody can see that information unless they have the password, Or you can make the page or post completely private, where the only people who will be able to read it are people who have access, either an author or administrative privileges to your blog. So I'm logged into the dashboard. I have privileges to this blog. I would see private pages. You, as just a visitor to my blog, would not see private pages. Then the third section here is published on, and this is where you set the exact time and date that the page and or post was published on the internet. The real power of this comes in, let's say you have 10 or 15 or even 20 blog posts that you want to sort of release in a timed fashion. You've got them all written, but you don't want them to come out all at once. So you can come into WordPress, create the 20 or 30 posts or whatever it is, but then date them to be published at a certain date and time. So maybe you have a 30-day course that you want to release to your customers, but they only get one lesson per day. You put each lesson in its own page or post, and then set the date and time you want it to be made available live on the internet. So that's a really good feature about WordPress. And just below here, there's also page attributes. This is specific to pages and not posts. So there's templates that you can use. You can have a one column with no sidebar template or the default template. Each theme will sort of determine what is available here. And then the order, if you have, let's say, 5 pages. Right now I only have the home page, which is a default, and the about page. But let's say I had home, about, contact us, maybe even like a products and services or a buy now page. The order that they appear here in this navigation bar is set by these numbers right here. So 0 is the first one in that list. 1 would be the second one, 2 would be the third one, and so on. So as you add more pages, keep that in mind that you can change the order here. Now that I've explained how this whole editor area works, let's actually implement it and make a real About Us page from the context of our Small Biz Tips blog. So the first thing I want to do is go back into the editor here and just highlight all of this text and remove it. I don't want any of this sort of out-of-box WordPress stuff to be there. I want a real description about who I am. And just to give you a full view of how this works, you'll see here there's an upload and insert section. And here I can add photos or videos or any other kind of media into my page or post. So for fun, let's just add a little photo that I've created that sort of represents a logo of this blog. And to do that, you click on the first one here, which is add an image. If you're unsure what these buttons do, just put your mouse over top and a little yellow box pops up saying add an image. So we'll click on that. And what I like about WordPress is if you don't have the image already uploaded to this site, you can grab it right off of your hard drive, and in fact most of the time that's how you're going to do it, and bring this photo from your hard drive right into your blog in real time. So the way you do that is you click select files and you grab it off your hard drive, then you upload it. So let me grab it from my hard drive. So I just hit the upload button, and it brought in this image from my hard drive. It's called about.jpg. It gives you a little preview of what the image looks like. There's the dimensions. And there's a whole bunch of settings in here where you can create the title of the image itself. If you want people to be able to click on the image and take them somewhere, like a website, you could put a URL here. If I was promoting a business, I might put the business's web address here. For now, I'm just going to click none. I don't want the picture to be clickable at all. And then what you can do is choose the alignment. Do you want the photo to appear in the middle of the page? So you can center it, you can right justify it, left justify it. You can even change the size down to a thumbnail, or you can leave it at the full size or somewhere in between, like medium or large. These are all things you'll just have to play around with and see what you like. I will left justify this image, and then I'm going to write some text to go around, to go sort of with this image that we've picked here. So we click Save All Changes, and then, sorry, I forgot to do one thing here. Then you need to say Insert into Post. So you insert it into Post, and then what happens here on the visual editor, you can see, and I really like this with WordPress, visually what this is going to look like. It's going to have our little logo here, Small Biz Tips, and just to the right of it, I have a little area where I can start typing some information about us. Welcome to the Small Biz Tips blog, and so on and so forth, but you get the idea. And now what we're going to do is, this change has not taken place yet on our website. In order to actually publish it live, we need to use this blue update button. So we're going to do that now. And usually it just refreshes the page and it says page updated, view now. I already have it over here in a window, so we can just go over there and refresh. And you can see here's our new About Us page. It's got our little image in there. It's got Welcome to the Small Business Tips blog and our write-up. And so that gives you an idea of not only how to deal with this editor, but how to change stuff on the fly. If this was a brand new page, this would, instead of saying update, this would say publish. So either way, you've got all the information now to start creating pages, and then later we're going to talk about creating posts as well.